Blessed love, this is Jalayan King, you know. Praise of an order of Melchizedek. Yeah, man, praise Jalayan King of the order of Melchizedek. Give thanks to life, give thanks to health and strength, you know. Give thanks to positiveness, give thanks to consciousness, give thanks to righteousness, give thanks to love. Give thanks to highly flattered, Jah, universal love, you know, one and all, you know. And give thanks to all good things and all abundance and all blessing. And then I approach in a new year, you know. Pray for everyone to be more conscious, more righteous, more loving, caring, more sympathetic, loving each other, you know, and praying for each other, you know, because God is love and love is God, you know, so let us all love, you know. And remember, love is the key that opens all doors, no matter what race or nation. Love is the key that opens the door for only more Zion I. And whosoever enter in, ever live a life shall have, you know. So love is the key, you know. So peace and love to the world, you know, and blessing and prosperity and joy and happiness and goodness for the 2024 coming from Andrew Priest Jalayan King. And if you want to contact I, 347-444-4460. Give thanks to life. Jah Rastafari, Holy Emmanuel I Selassie. Jah Rastafari, Holy King Emmanuel Scepter. Jah Rastafari, heal the mighty, heal the strong, the might, I am the I am. Holy John Marcus Messiah Gavi I Selassie. Jah Rastafari, Libet, for fearful, for sure, my Lord, we know people I Selassie. Jah, give thanks and praise the Lion, my Lord, first.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Wala dwalleen. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sanada Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Sheikh Sufi Ba. SheikhSufi@gmail.com. CheikSufi@gmail.com. Opening prayer for the greatest shaman that I know in the West, Brother Ankh, Rising Sun. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin al-Fatihi lima ulika wal-Katimi lima sabaka Nasir al-Haqi bil-Haqi wal-Hadi ila siratika mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wal-Miqdarihi al-Azim.
Greetings, loved ones. Our prayer for you for 2024 is to be in a vibrational receiving match. A vibrational receiving match for happiness, for giving, for gratitude, for wisdom, for discernment, with abundance of blessings, for your soul tribe, for your soul mate, for your open-mindedness, for your spiritual growth, for divine love, and for a healthy, emotional, physical, spiritual body. I wish you all these things and pray that you receive all these things in the year 2024. Receive in all languages. Ashe, Amin, and Namaste. You can reach me at Instagram, Sequoia_Sequoia_. Spirit, that is SEQUNYA. Again, I wish you all these blessings and so much more in the year of 2024. Thank you.
Beloved mighty and present, great hosts of sitting ascended masters, great angelic hosts, great cosmic beings who govern the system of worlds and the seven mighty worlds. Lord, we call upon your grace to heal the earth of the actions of the sinister forces. Their plan is to eliminate the population in the most horrible and murderous ways. They have already poisoned our food with things we can't even pronounce. They poison the water with fluoride. They poison the air with chemtrails. They have poisoned the medicine with side effects that will kill you if you take it. And they have poisoned the technology against mankind. They have weaponized all these things against mankind. We call upon your grace to free us from the sinister forces whose diabolical plan is to make this world the most hellish place. America, which was the light of the world, that was brought to the world, established in this world to make every human being here ascended, and then to have that spread throughout the world. Lord, we ask you to incarnate in this very planet. Incarnate in mass, incarnate with sitters and ascended masters, with divine beings of every type to bring in revolutions of meditation, revolution of mantra repetition, revolution of chanting, revolution of spreading love and light, revolutions of knowledge. Lord, we call upon you to empower us with our divine selves, so that we can rid the world of these very sinister forces whose aim is to do nothing but create this place to be a Sodom and Gomorrah. We already know that Earth is the most wicked planet in the universe. Let us turn it to be the light of the world, so that it is the greatest planet in the universe, so that we excel even what is happening in the great central sun. As a matter of fact, Lord, we ask all the beings from the great central sun to incarnate on the earth, to incarnate on the earth, to incarnate on the earth within us, so that we could do the work that I'm begging for now. Oh Lord, I ask this in the name of Swami Muktananda Paramahansa, Bhagavan Nityananda, Guru Mahachiv Lasananda, beloved Saint Germain, Lord Jesus the Christ, Lord Buddha, Allah, and the great Sundar Kumar. Almighty I am, Almighty I am, Almighty I am.
Aboru aboye aboshishe alafia ubuntu assalamu alaikum assalamu alongo sanda om namah shivaya. I give you praise in the main shalom. Whatever your wonderful beliefs and your system of beliefs is, we give praise. But we give praise to the Olodumare, the Oloru, the Somole, the Albamole, Efunfuni, Legi, Kuku, Tekunani, Samuju, Olowa, Deogu, Mojuba, Mudemo, Male, Mafon, Matibo, Jo. We give praise to the God who is the owner of today, the owner of yesterday, and the owner of all days to come. He to whom the Rumole and Albamole exist to know his laws and command, originating creator, all things discovered and yet to be discovered. We give praise to our grand, powerful ancestors, those wise ones who come, give us directions, light, love, and help us to be able to receive the benefit in our life. We ask that you be able to embrace the great divinity of Rumila, the one who is witness creation, second only to all Damari, the owner of medicine, more powerful than medicine, the immense orbit that fought the day of death. He to who is the perfect in the house of wisdom. He is able to heal and to regenerate you creatures of ill luck and bring them perfectly back into homeostasis, understanding, light, and love, and helping you to embrace the love of the universe as we give praise to all the creatures of the universe, everything that moves and reverberates, and the vibration that moves in your life. Allow you to find goodness, allow you to find health and vitality, strength to move forward for the accomplishment of all the goals that you have set for you and your family. My name is Babalao Oluwole Abiyomi Fakunle Ade Tuti Ronkolo de Manyansa. My nickname is Babalao of Harlem. We send greetings to you today. As you at www.ifakunle.com, you can reach me and we will talk. Peace.
O great spirit, great mystery, sending a prayer of peace to this world, to all the humans, a prayer of peace to all of us. May we remember how to be good relations. May we remember how to be good brothers and sisters. Sending a prayer of love to the heart of the earth. Thank you, Mother, for loving us so much. Thank you for being so forgiving with us. Thank you for being so patient with us. May your light reach all the beings that are suffering right now. May your light, may your love reach their lives. May your light guide them in the right direction. May your love give them strength for them to keep walking, living. Sending prayers to all of you, my family. May we always remember to be together, that we are all one big family, that all of us belong to this earth. Thank you, Mother. Hi, familia. My name is Osvaldo Pomaquiza. I come from Ecuador, and I want to invite you to sit with me. I serve a Grandfather Wachuma. My phone number is 201-981-4545. Feel free to text me, call me, and also give me thanks for this space. Thank you so much. I love you.
Call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. I am.
Well, greetings and welcome, family, to a special show, a heads-up show. Our esteemed guest, Professor James Small, co-hostess Cunia. Hey, Cunia, how you doing?
I was just getting ready to go to the restroom.
Well, go ahead to the restroom. I'm gonna do the invocation while you take care of the elimination.
All
So I
right.
am in me. I am in Cunia. I am in Babalao Ifa Kunle. I am within our elder, Baba, Professor James Small. We individually and collectively gathered today. I want to thank everyone for being present. Thank you for being born. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving this incarnation and all the trepidation and challenges. You are alive and here. And wherever you may be, family, let us know in the comments what part of the world you are listening from. And we would like to hear in the comments, wherever you are, whatever town, city, country, state, planet, we want to know. So we have an overview that goes beyond perimeters of our imagination. So we say individually and collectively, yes, I am forgiving all past lives, and I am all past lives forgiving me. Yes, I am forgiving myself mostly, because sometimes the hardest thing is, we have the broken-hearted, wounded souls have become a dysfunctional junkyard of grudges that has to be cleansed. And we got to lift ourselves by our bootstraps, because ain't nobody coming down to save us yet. I want to thank all the support that you've given on the many inspirations of the many short videos. Those I want to give a special acknowledgement to my Jedi brother, who I call Squeeze Master Cameroon. He will be at this Saturday from 6 until closing, and he will be giving service. But he's also a science officer. He's a mad scientist. Special acknowledgement to you, Brother Cameroon, because he was the one that let the dogs out of my creativity to create videos for our liberation, activation, transmutation, acceleration, and magical manifestation. So we individually and collectively call upon our ascended master brothers and sisters, the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko. We ask that you put your hands on all the members of the forum tonight and guide our words. Ascended master from Senegal, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, who walked on water, bulletproof, night-proof, hungry, lion-proof. Simeon Toko, they killed his physical body like 30 times, and he would reassemble from being chopped up, and he would reassemble. So we ask that both of you, Sheikh Ibrahim, be on this show tonight. We call on the presence of Yeshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary, to be with us tonight on the show. Archangel Michael, to protect all our family, friends, and loved ones. We call on Gatekeeper of Mount Shasta in Northern California, Saint Germain. We ask that you be with us tonight. We call on Nikolai Tesla to be with us. And we again call on Archangel Michael to protect our family, friends, loved ones. And all we have to do is call on these ascended master big brothers and sisters for divine intervention. Enoch the Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron. We invite you to be on the show. We call on the forces of nature within us. Ilegba, Oshun, Yemaya, Olokun, Oya, Shango, Ogun, Obatala, Ochosi. Be with us. We call on the presence of Harriet Tubman, Mary McLeod Bethune, Nat Turner, John Brown. We call on Dr. George Washington Carver, Shroom Master, Dr. Sabi. Call on Master Kalindi Aye. We call on Frederick Douglass, P.B. Randolph, Chief Osceola, Chief Geronimo, Chief Crazy Horse, Chief Sitting Bull, Chief Seattle. We call on Quetzalcoatl, White Buffalo, Calf Woman. We call on all the warriors, known and unknown, seen and unseen, who serve the rhythm of love supreme. We call on South African Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa to be with us on this show tonight. And we say to collectively also, we invite the Buddhas, the Lady Buddhas, the Krishnas, the Lady Krishnas. We call on Imhotep, Ptahotep, Akhenaten, Seraphis Bey, Marcus Messiah Garvey, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. We call on our great big brothers and sisters to be with us on this wooden stage of life, this short paragraph of existence. And we say together, Ashe, Aho, Donada, Wado, Amen, Amen. And let us begin with, we got Brother Baraka co-host, Cunia. And let me show you the flyer while we're waiting for our guests to arrive. This is the event that's happening this Saturday at Nicholas Bookstore. Cunia, tell us what we got here.
Yeah. Greetings.
Greetings.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Talk to us, Leo.
Well, first and foremost, I hope everybody's nice and cozy with the beautiful cuddle weather we have. And yeah, we're here tonight. I had all my notes. Where did it go? We're here this evening.
Come on, get it together, Cunia. Everybody's in the house.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're here. Come on, talk to us.
Hey, yo, give me a minute. I got my notes right here.
All right.
Yeah, I have all these. What's with the echo business?
I'm gonna shut off Baraka's and all the speakers. Thank you. So echo's gone. Go ahead, talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. I didn't know I was having all these other co-hosts with me this evening.
Well, adapt. Come on now.
I got all the gods and the gods with me, and I have our esteemed guest, Professor James Small, the all in all. And while I was preparing for this evening, I have some wonderful notes and questions to ask our esteemed guests. And I just want to welcome everyone in the sound of my vocal tones. Good evening, good night, wherever you are, daylight, moonlight, sunrise. We welcome you. And make sure you share out this wonderful, beautiful event that we're doing this evening with our esteemed guests. Once again, you know, Professor James Small, and as part of our spiritual legacies that we're doing at Nicholas, Brooklyn. And so we welcome you to the spiritual legacies are an important aspect in the material world, because we know everything starts in the physical, in the non-physical world first, and then it manifests into the material world. So it's very, very important that we understand. And I know most people in the sound of my voice do understand the fact that everything is non-physical first, and then it manifests into a material realm. Because like the very computers that we're dealing with, the very chairs that we're sitting on, our very clothes, our glasses, whatever, was once non-physical. It was in someone's mind that you could not see at all. And then because there are certain energies that were put forth to it, we are now able to see these things. And so we feel, myself and Monique at Nicholas, Brooklyn, we feel that the spiritual legacies are very, very vital in this time more than ever. And that's why it matters. Everything matters right now. What you speak, what you say, what you do comes with a frequency. Uh, whether we were taught this or not, everything is a frequency, everything is mental, it's everything. And I'm so happy that spiritual legacies is a part of that whole manifestation that we're going to be doing from this day forth to infinity.
And I want to acknowledge my distant cousin by way of Virginia, Babalawo, Chief Babalawo Ifakunle. I want to thank him for the prayer. He does the prayer opening, family, on every show, because we're going to have to pray and chant our way through 2024 so that we essentially keep our frequency right. So thank you, Professor. Thank you, Chief, for being present. I want to thank Ifakunle. He made it happen because Professor James Small was moving so fast, man. I couldn't keep up. I gave Cunia, so he was blowing lights, just going. Cunia couldn't catch him. I was like, the only way I can hook into the brother to catch up with him is through Babalawo Ifakunle. So,
really?
Salutations, brother. Thank you. And here we are tonight with Baraka. I want to acknowledge my brother Baraka, co-host.
Peace.
Okay.
And let's get busy. So I'm gonna fall back.
All right. So
chat.
First and foremost, Professor Small, it's such an honor to be in your presence. And I know I said that on the King Simon show, but I will continually say it over and over again. It fills my heart to know that you acknowledge what we're doing over at Nicholas Brooklyn as part of your further evolving and what you have to bring to the earth, to the spiritual table. And there was a couple of questions that, I wanted to put forth to you since Unk Rising Sun said I am going to be hosting and, so just a few questions and then we could just do the breakout room. Is that okay with you, Professor James Small?
I'm on your journey. I'm on your vehicle, on your journey.
Okay.
I'll deal with it if the journey don't fit where I want to go. I mean, dump all y'all and take the vehicle.
Okay. The first question that came to mind is, how did you know that this was the path or journey for you at the onset of you doing what you do?
Well, I got to be honest. If I'm honest, people get scared because they don't think it's real. Well, I'm having this conversation with the divine since I was a child.
I know that's true.
And you don't understand it fully. It comes in dreams at first. And then one day I went to Mecca. I was a Muslim imam back then, the Muslim imam, because my mosque was the Muslim Mosque Inc., founded by Malcolm X. So I could have been the richest imam in America if I wanted to be what they wanted me to be or do what they wanted me to do. But while I was in Mecca, the spirits came, the Orishas came, and they put me on another path without going into detail.
Yes.
And even when the other forces turned me over to the CIA, the Orishas allowed me to escape in Jeddah, not in Mecca. And when I thought I was going to die there, and I was pretty close to death, but for all practical purposes, I was physiologically dead when I got back to America before my mom rushed me to the hospital. I was sitting on a curb in Jeddah. I had taken off my white. I had on a pair of jeans, and I had on a dashiki. Was the only one I had. It was a leopard spot, but it was blue. And I needed something to make me feel African because I'd been through a lot of stuff, right? And I'm sitting on the curb crying because the Saudis wouldn't let me out of the country.
Wow.
They would not on my ticket. Everybody, I went to the medical places, nobody would serve me. They knew I would die in a day or two. And I'm sitting on this curb, and I tell people the story because people need to know it. And a man came and stood over me and spoke to me in a language I didn't understand. And I just looked up and said, "Sir, I speak only English." And he said, "Oh, I speak English." And then I looked up, and it was a man standing in full Yoruba buba in the middle of Saudi Arabia, right? And he asked me what was wrong. I told him my situation, and he said, "Come with me." And he took me to the French Airways, and he bought me an airline ticket home. And we had a fight over my passport because I was so messed up that the passport was my only connection to the reality that I knew, that I didn't want to give it up. And he finally, after about an hour, got me to let go of that passport. And I don't know his name. I know said he was from Lagos and that his family had a sawmill. And he was in Saudi Arabia because his father was a Muslim and he had brought the father. And never seen or heard from him again.
Wow.
And so when I came back home, I never did another Muslim service as the imam. I was still technically the imam for another 3 years, but I never stood up to do a service as the imam because I had a visitation, 2 of them. And it's okay to let people know because no one told me to keep it secret. I chose to. I was into that. My first date, me and Malcolm's nephew, Rodnell Collins. And the people had not seen Black Muslims from America. So they took our passport. It was just going around, thousands of people just passing it on. So everybody wanted to see a Black Muslim from America. And so the security people told us to give them 2 or 3 days and they would find it. And they sure did. In 3 days, they found it and brought it back to us at Hajj Center. And while him and I were standing there, he was drinking a Coca-Cola and I'm talking to him. 3 men in all white up out of the desert stood right abreast of me. And I'm wondering why they're standing there. They're old men. And the youngest of the old, and he must have been like in his 70s, but he was a big brother. He came out of the 2, from between the 2, and he came in front of me. And he put his face right up against my face, looking in my eyes. And it was like I could feel him looking at my brain. And so I said, "Excuse me, sir." And when he heard me speak English, he jumped back with a kind of not a yell, but a like, "What the?" And then he came and did it again. He put his face right up against mine, looking in my eyes. And I did that again. And he went back. And he says, "Where are you from?" in a very broken English. And I was scared. So the only thing I could say is, "I'm from Harlem." Because then everybody in the world know Harlem. Right? And you know, Black folks from Harlem, we tough, right? So all I could say in my fear was, "I'm from Harlem." And then he came back a 3rd time to look in my eyes. And I stopped him and put my hand on his chest. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, why are you doing this?" And then he backed away and pointed his finger. And he says, "You're going to be a great man someday." And by now, I'm shaking. He don't know I'm shaking, right? But this is my 2nd day, I think, in Saudi Arabia. And so I grabbed his wrist. And I was strong. I was young, powerful, man. Grab his wrist, right? I'm a martial artist and everything. And he just pulled out like I was a baby with no strength. And that shit scared me. See, that's when I really got scared. Because I go like, no, I know who I am with strength, right? And then Rodnell, Malcolm's nephew, is standing there like this ain't even happening. Almost like he don't see it. So I said to the man, I said, "Why are you doing this to me?" He says, "When we get ready for you, we will come to you in your dreams." Then he go and he joined the other 2 and he walks away. Now, I told this to a few people because people think you're being presumptuous, right?
Right.
When you're talking about spiritual things. In the week leading up to this, as I'm walking around Saudi Arabia hungry because they took all my money, I got no money. I'm stealing food to eat. I'm stealing bread. I'm stealing the fruit here and there. And occasionally people would help me, give me some food. And there was one brother from Canada gave me $50, an Arab brother. And another one gave me $50. And this Chinese brother named Amin Bushnak Amin, he had a hotel, but he didn't let me stay inside. He let me stay on a bench outside, and I could use the outside shower to clean myself each day. So that was like the gift, right? But what happened for about one night, I'm walking, I'm all by myself. Rodnell had abandoned me. He had left me, gone back to America. And I'm over there by myself, no money, nothing. And you go someplace else in yourself when you're under those circumstances, right? So I'm up in the hills in Mecca. And I'm walking, and I'm tired, and I'm hungry. And it's dark. And so I see this wall. I got a sleeping bag. So there's a wide cinder block wall, like 2 cinder blocks thick. So I'm scared to sleep on the ground. So I go on this about 4-foot wall. I lay my sleeping bag, and I kind of position myself so I could sleep because I was tired. When I wake up in the morning, all I could hear is voices in a language I didn't understand. And I did speak and understand a little Arabic, but this language I didn't understand. When I look around, I was surrounded by all these Black people, and they were laughing at me, like happy to see me wake up, you know, and they offered me food, and they offered me breakfast with them.
Wow.
Some fruits and vegetables, kind of like a stir fry thing, and some bread. And never knew where they were from. I assumed from language and stuff it was Chad, from my language. But from that day on, I would see little people every night. Wow. I'm talking little people, littler than the pygmies.
Wow.
And they took care of me until I met the man from Nigeria. Now, nobody ever heard that whole story. I still haven't told you the whole story.
Well, you see, Professor Smalls, I was guided to ask you these questions because I knew within my heart and soul that.
Let me tell you the climax.
Okay.
Leaving out a lot of things, but the little people frightened me because I didn't understand. I didn't know people would be that small. But they were like taking care of me, and I didn't understand what they were speaking. It's almost confusing, but they kind of like took care of me, guided me. Didn't let nothing happen to me. And so when I get back to Jeddah, and the brother I meet comes and helps me and buy me the ticket to send me home, I knew from then on I had to find out more. I had been studying the Yoruba tradition, but just peripherally. When I was in New York, I would hook up with Baba Surgiman, Chief Ajamu, and Jomo, and Mama KK, and them, because they were Malcolm's friends, so they had become my friend. And when the temple had, you know, lost their place on 7th Avenue, I would let them meet in the mosque on Sunday on 139th because we owned our own building. And so, and Mama KK was on the board of the OAAU. There's a lot of things people don't know about the politics of some of the Yoruba community.
Wow.
And so when I get back to Boston, well, the CIA arrests me. I escaped from them. I'll leave the details of that out.
Yeah.
They would catch up with me again in Jeddah. But they said, we just want you to come in and talk with us. We're not going to hurt you. We're not going to arrest you. And I refused for like a half a day. And finally I told the guy, come on, I'll go. It was just something that said, don't be scared.
Right.
And I walked into their offices, and they asked me a lot of questions. They were mostly amazed that I was even there and not under nobody's supervision or control. And so, and they let me go. They let me walk right out the door. And the guy says, see, I told you I would not harm you. A young white man. And I remember he had on jeans, a white t-shirt, and some sneakers. And when I got to Kennedy, they would pull me, the CIA people, State Department people.
Barack,
and they give me $50. They said, we know you're hungry. We know you. And they give me $50 to go buy some food. And he said, nobody ever escaped from us, you know, and get away with it, but we're going to give you $50 and get on your plane and go to Boston. Because I was living with Malcolm X's sister in her home with my family at the time. Boston, and I'm going to put this out there in the public so people can see it for whatever they want to see. I'm sick, right? And so pus is draining from both of my ears because I'm sick. I don't even know how sick I am. And she calls a doctor. First, the brother, what's his name, from Liberia, takes me to the hospital. But when I get to the hospital, again, police, they wanted to interrogate me in the emergency room. Wow. So when they left the emergency room, Whatever they go to, I jump out of the emergency room window, go back to Ella's house. She calls a private doctor who comes over, and I die on the kitchen floor by the stove. Okay. And I'm laying on the floor, and Ella's crying as Malcolm's sister, and my daughter Chanmini is crying. Brother Albert, the brother from Liberia, is crying, and the doctor pronounces me dead. And wow. I'm lying there screaming at the top of what I thought was my voice, that I wasn't dead. But I wasn't really screaming. Nobody could hear me, right? And then a person that looked just like me, brown, just like me, naked, gets up out of my body. Wow. And he stands there, perfectly formed. And then a second person, silver, and Barbara, you got to talk to me about the silver, because I really hadn't shared this with too many people, for all the obvious reasons. Yes. The silver me gets up out of me and stands perfectly formed. And then the third one that gets up out of me is green, and he's malformed. And then a voice, which I will not let you know what the voice said, except that it told me to leave the tradition I was in and to come back to the way of my ancestors. And I never went in a mosque ever as a minister after that. When I agreed to do what I was instructed to do, they said they would teach me, because I said, I don't know these things. They would teach me. And when I agreed, it's like a bomb went off in my head, like an explosion. And I started moaning. And I remember everybody ran to me, and they picked me and put me on these chairs, 3 chairs, and wrapped my head. And all I could do is I wanted to go home, because my wife and other 2 children was in New York. My mother's in New York. And I fought them physically until Ella said, let them go. And they gave me the money for the Greyhound bus, and Albert took me to the bus. I came home to New York. I didn't go to my wife. I went to my mother. That's where you go when you think you're dying. You don't, wife, you somebody I know, I'm going to the room.
Right.
And so when I got to my mother's house, I knocked on the door. My sister opened the door. A grown woman started screaming and ran back in the house saying, there's a dead man. There's a dead man at the door. Never forget how she said that.
Wow.
And she's screaming, Mom, I said, go, what's wrong with you? And she's screaming, there's a dead man. There's a dead man at the door. And so my mother ran to the door, and she took one look at me, and she ran back. And I remember I collapsed and grabbed hold of the door because I felt my mother had abandoned me. My mother went back and got her purse. And she grabbed me and struggled with me and my sister down to a taxi and took me to Presbyterian. And that doctor said, had I not come in when I came in, it would have been a wrap. And I was lucky that I was just back from Mecca, and it was a Pakistani Muslim brother, so he took care of me.
Wow.
And I returned to Boston. Now, I tell you that because in that experience, even with all that I left out, all of this is happening within a 3-week period of time.
Yes, sir.
I learned a lot. And I knew that our ancestors' way is for us the only way. Yes, we had to use those other innovations, but they're mere innovations.
Yes.
On universal sacred science. The way of our ancestors is the only way. And so I've been trying my best to listen to their instructions. But I'm human like everybody else. I don't want people to think, oh, they go, you can see some mystery. No. I F up like everybody. I've even lied like everybody.
Yes.
You know, I've betrayed, especially at the level of relationships, like everybody.
The human experience, in other words.
We're fractured and broken spiritually.
Yes.
And what our tradition teaches us, because a lot of the things we do wrong, we don't know they're wrong when we're doing them. We have to be in some order, you know. We're working in some framework of order, but we're not. It's a disorder masquerading as order.
Yes.
In the environment we find ourselves in. And it's being informed by powerful institutions we call religion and polity and ideology. And so you have to extract yourself from that, but you can't do that extraction unless you get to know yourself, and you can't get to know yourself unless you know your history, and you can't get to know your history unless you submit without fear
Yes.
to this thing, African, that you know nothing about, and allow it to teach you. And even when you're afraid, you give the authority, and then you realize that the thing is the universe itself, and that the universe itself is the totality of the being that we call Africa, in its authenticity and its originality, which is a Black woman. When the first time the universe says, I'm going to be a human for whatever purpose, it was our mother.
Yes.
And when we think of all of the Orishas, because I have people say, oh, I'm Oshun, and you ask them, what is Oshun? That means beautiful, and that means sensual. Who is teaching the people?
Right.
That yellow, and I had the flowers. Who's teaching the people?
Yes.
Who's telling them?
Small, can I just?
Yeah, just let me finish this one, because
Okay.
The first thing we think of when we think of Oshun is intuition. One of the most powerful force in the human being is the intuitive nature that allows you to have access to the divine within you. So we got a lot of stuff to do. And we can't play with what we got to do.
No.
Because I've seen so many taken. They will take you on a dime. You can make mistakes. They forward mistakes. They'll kick you behind because any mistake is a mistake. And they'll give you a chance to correction under instruction. Today, I'm talking about the Orishas. I'm talking about the forces that surround them. I'm talking about the divine, the universe itself. But if you are deliberate in your contending with them,
talk about it.
Be on a dime. Wouldn't even be a dime. Be something thinner than a dime, right? And so that's where I come from, having grown up in a root woman's house in South Carolina on a plantation in the woods, swamp, really, outside of Georgetown, South Carolina. Didn't understand the value of mama. You know, but here we are. That's me.
Well, you know what? I have no words. The only words I have is that we hear a lot of these near-death experiences, as they call them, NDAs, and you don't hear, excuse me, you don't hear a lot about it from our perspective. And it's either because they're afraid to share the information, or they feel that people won't believe the experience. But the fact that you have explained your particular path, I think it's monumental to share. And this lets people know that when one door is closed, another one is open. So I really, 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 really love the fact that you shared for the first time, okay, your experience in the world of spirit. And it's not to be played with, as you say. And
be clear, there's one thing we got to be clear on. We do have this discussion with the divine about what our destiny is going to be before coming here.
Yes.
That is a real. And then the tradition, Ifa, Orisha, should realign us with that destiny, because we lose our path on the way here.
Yes, we do.
But that is the tradition, one of the traditions that realigns us with that destiny.
Yes.
Who's able to really get back to destiny and try the best you can to fulfill that destiny with whatever knowledge you acquire in order to allow you to do that. That's significant and important. that we know. We agreed upon these destinies, and we are held responsible to them when we arrive here.
Yes. Yes. Well, I have more questions, but I would like to turn the mic over to one of your beautiful friends. Is what Babala? What's your name,
My
brother?
teacher, my father, my brother, he is so many things to my
Yes.
spirit, and to our community and world.
Yes. So,
But
my
he
brother,
certainly,
please unmute your mic, and I welcome you to this evening's event.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
We can hear you.
All right.
turn up your volume a little.
Okay. I'll see if that'll help. Yeah.
We can't hear you.
We heard you fine at first. Now we can't hear you at all.
Can you unmute yourself?
As far as I know,
There we
I'm
go.
unmuted.
There you go. There you go.
All right. All right. Yeah, no, I was never in control of the mute, and really amazing story. I mean, I can tell you a little bit more. We will talk personally more about what was going on with you. I mean, it was a very, very interesting story. Just the whole, the idea of really being guided by the spirit. I mean, we have to really realize as African people that, we differ from the rest of the world. Well, not the rest of the world, particularly in the European sense, that we are spiritual beings. And so that there's a very difference between religion and spirituality. And African people, we are spiritual. And so we have to always really get in touch with our spirituality before we even try to deal with anything religious. And so when I went on my journey to Nigeria and I was going to become a priest, one of the things that I told my spirits was that I knew my spirits and I know who they were. And I told, listen, if what I'm doing is not right, you have to come and let me know. Right. So all the way we as spiritual people, we know that, look, because I was worshiping Islam, I was doing my salats, I was doing 8 times a day, thinking something would go right. I was doing anything to try to avoid African spirituality because it was being deemed what? Hocus pocus, black magic, and all of these things that they wanted to call it. But the major thing is that one thing you could never tell me from when I was a little child is that I had eyes, what we call bititi, the ability to see inside of the insight. There's sight and there's insight. And that sight that I had always led me. So I was never going to be fearful of what anybody tried to tell me about religion, go to Christ, go to the mosque, go to the, whatever it was going to be. One thing is going to be sure, the inner spirit and the spirits that guided me was always with me. And so just prior to my initiation, and they were getting ready to do the initiation the next day, a lady came. And she came out of the wall 4 a.m. in Africa with a sound. You could hear the and I woke up and I looked up as she came through the wall and I recognized Big Mom. You know what I mean? It was a big mommy. And I recognized who spiritually, what I thought she was or what she represented. But I knew she was there to let me know that everything, she said, everything is all right. I'm here with you. Go ahead. And she then pointed behind her and showed me somebody who was with me, and your brother's here. And I was like, okay. And so when you're talking about being guided, all the way, I mean, prior to that, I was used to be on the train and you would hear this idea, I have to go downtown, and the spirit tell you got to go uptown. And I'm saying, what? Go uptown? Yeah, you got to go uptown. I said, well, okay, I'm going to agree to a certain point. And I agreed to go uptown. And on the train, somebody was there, and she said, I've been looking for you. And I'm like, what? And in 2 stops, she decided she was getting off. And she took me to her house and we talked. And I did consultation and read for her and did this. And then I said, oh, somebody's coming. And I have to leave now. And she looked at me, she said, really? I said, yes, go to your door. And at the door, there was somebody getting ready to put a key in the door. And, you know, just the idea of how the spirit takes over your body, takes over your life. And the spirituality is really what guides us. And we as African people need to realize there's a very big difference between spirituality and religion. And so when we talk about the European has this formula. And Africans, we know that we have to go outside of ourselves and we grasp the energy that is in there, that is inside of us, that is our ancestors who are always guiding us, Aisheshe. You know, so in Nigeria or in Yoruba, it says like bokawa to borisha. I say like bokawa to borisha. Before we worship any deity, we are first going to worship our ancestors. It says Orini, it says me, that my head is my ancestor. Baba mi, it says me, my father is my Ishe. Ye ni, it says me, my mother is my ancestor. Oludumare ni Isheshe, that it says God is my ancestor.
Absolutely.
So when you deal with a force and a thought, a mindset, you see the idea of a mindset of spirituality that is coming from, listen, even God is my ancestor, that my own head is my ancestor, that my mother, my father is my ancestor, and that my destiny is led by those things. The Oduvijukbe tells us that. So it tells us this kind of thing that is very, very leading, that spirituality. And before we worship any Orisha, before we worship any deity, before Jesus, before Buddha, before Christ, we're going to give praise to that which we come from and is our ancestors.
Ashe.
Yes.
Baba, you mentioned that
There's an
religion and spirituality are different,
Yes.
and that we have to get in touch with our spirituality. How can we do that?
You said, how do we do that?
Yes.
So getting in touch with your spirituality is really very simple. And one of the things that I recommend everyone is to do is to set up an ancestral altar. An ancestral altar, which would include flowers, incense, water. But first of all, water is the energy is coming through. The most essential is the for all energy is the water. So having your ancestral set up right there, Professor is showing his ancestral shrine, his altar, his grounding center.
very much so.
That's it. That's your grounding. That's where your center comes from. And your center is hope that is that bottomless. So we're going to put candles. We're going to put flowers. We're going to put our pictures of our ancestors. But most important, before anything you're going to put is going to put on some clean water. And so the idea of using clean water as a vehicle, because what does it do? It allows the energy, the flow of energy to come through, you know? And so before we teach anybody, we're going to teach you Aumba Waori, Aumba Waori, Awaosun, Awaoma, Lady Oma, Lady Awo, Bobo Egunkawe, that the ancestral, those things which was standing up straight and erect has fallen. And those are the people we're going to call our mother, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers. And if we go back, we're going to reach those ones that are going to help. Because that's who's going to come for you in the end, right? In the beginning and the end. The first people you see, and they hold you and love you up. And the last people you see when you get to the other side, they're going to be there waiting for you. Those are the same people that you got to recognize your entire life. And so getting in touch with your ancestors is, even if you don't know their names, you can say my mother's or my father's, and you can call them. using the water. You can call them using a bell, using a shekere, using your voice through song. And so it is with that we begin to go take it, praise to them that he said that our mothers and our fathers will wake up. Give me that old time religion. It was good enough for my mother, it was good enough for my father, and it's good enough for me. So that's what we need, that old time religion and connecting to that old time religion.
My brother, how did you and Professor Smalls link up together?
I can't even tell you how long ago that Professor Smalls and I we interlinked all around different places. I mean, it was interesting that I actually was in contract to buy the building where he was the imam. So it was like even weird how how those things are. I go in there and I was like, Professor, he was like, really? The picture's still up? And I was like, yeah, I was gonna buy the building. I was like, in contract, and it's just many links. We have many links and
mystical.
Yeah, Sir Jim and I did Fool Me the First, which is one of my teachers, who I went down to the village in 1975. I lived down there. I was watching. I was trying to escape from gang violence up here, and they put me down there to hide me. So I was under his tutelage, and I was under Ibai Batunu, Chief Pianki, and Oshun Toke, and just a bunch of people. Chiba Jamu was there. Oshun Kunle. There's a lot of people who were instrumental in structuring and directing me towards Orisha. And in my estimation, I never thought that Surgeon told me in 1972 when he did a reading for me that you're going to be a Babalawo. And I'm like, me? Nah, I'm a chicken killer? Never. And, and that's how I viewed him, And he said, well, you just need a little protection. And I went for the protection. Well, you can protect me, but I'm never going to be like you. And my mother said, you got to be respectful. Watch your mouth, And so said, so done, as life has found it, But yeah, I mean, I've joined the Ogboni societies. I've been initiated into voodoo. I've been initiated into Palo Mayombe, different houses. I've gone through the Ogboni society. And I mean, there's just initiation to Orisha. I went to Trinidad and Tobago. I went to the Morning Ground. I mean, it's just going through, but it's all being led by spiritual vision, by nightly visions, by those who come and talk to us. I know who those little people are. I used to watch them come through the wall. I know how they operate. They're something else. The little people that he's talking about, those little people, when you get to meet somebody who knows about them, then you find yourself in a connection. So you're saying, how did we meet? We met many lives because it was clear whenever I meet Professor, or we know we connect on so many different levels. We're amazed. People that we know in common, right? So we just run the same circle. So that's just really, that is just absolutely amazing.
So what I would like to ask is,
Baba said something, and I want to show you something.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'll give you the floor, my brother.
This lady, her name is Nana Afuasa. She's with the ancestors now. She was 101 in this picture. Right? This was my mother in Ghana, who was raised by the little people.
Oh.
They call them the Motias.
The Motias.
And I got to be among them, dance with them. They would only let me at the end of the year, when she had her Kwesi die, I was the only one allowed to sit beside their daughter, who is my mother.
Wow.
There is so much of our reality that is still real.
Yes, sir.
They say we lost this, we lost that. No, we believed someone when they told us we lost it.
Mm-hmm.
When we stop believing them, we'll realize we never lost anything because we are the thing. I just wanted to say that. And Mama, she always sitting up there smiling at me every day.
Ashe.
Well, what I would like to add or say is that because we were, I would say, tricked out of our own indigenous ways and brought into a foreign type of vibration, and those same people who more or less said, oh, come over to this side, you'll be better, is the same people who have utilized our own spiritual systems. So I would say, in order for us to get out of the realms or the reigns of Babylon, so to speak, is that we have to return to our original identification, as Professor Small would say. That is our original ID, in our DNA, in our RNA. So if we want solutions for ourselves, the solutions are not politicians. The solutions are not in any other thing outside of yourself. It's within yourself. And that's how I feel, in order of us to get out of, quote unquote, the matrix, or not let the matrix use us, we have to utilize what was original for our own well-being moving forward. And I really feel that that is happening with a quickening. I think more and more people are, being attuned to the unveiling. This whole divide and rule, because you're this, because all of that is folly and it's an illusion, but we have brought into it. So it's now time for us to relearn what has been hidden from us. I wanted to say that, and your feelings.
I would like to ask a question of Professor Smalls or Baba Ifakunle. In terms of the traditional African religions, a lot of people have the perspective that it's all about putting a hex or a curse on people. I know personally that that's not the case, but in talking to people who are less knowledgeable, I find that when I bring it up to people, very often they think that it's just about, like I said, like witchcraft or something like that. What would you say to that?
I have a quick answer for that. So one of the things is that you want to realize people talk from what they know, and they talk according to their own language. This is something which is so very common for why you want to call it black magic, right? First of all, why do you even want to call our African spiritual traditions magic from the first place? Why do they want to call it? Why don't they just call it spirituality, which what it is? But because of their lore, and when the confines of what you call Christianity, you have something which is called witchcraft, right? Because they have been killing witches as a result of what the Bible, because of what they say that is inside of their Bible. So people use this term witchcraft mistakenly, because I have so many clients that come to me and they want to know if I've been hexed, have I been put a witch on me and all of this. But bewitchery is not part of African tradition, right? We begin the idea of witch doctor. I'm a Babalawo. But they had a little small child came to me one day and she wanted to know something. She wasn't afraid of me or anything, but she said, Mr. Witch Doctor Man. You see, because this is the language, the English language use that word, right? So this idea of witchcraft is something which comes out of Europe. In Africa, it's African spirituality. Now, I'm not saying there's no such thing in our languages that doesn't deal with epe, curse, or oforere, which means the incantations that we use. Incantation, there's positive incantations, negative incantations, but the idea of witchcraft was introduced, the word was introduced by Europeans to the African frame, because that was not part of our mindset. That was never part of how we dealt with it. We dealt with it. Even the idea of using and calling our systems of religion, our systems, not of religion, sorry, systems of spirituality, because realizing that our own way is not a way of religion. Our way is a way of spirituality. They want to call our religion cults. Why do they want to call it cult? Because then it degrades what we are, who we are. But no, we are spirit-based people. And so if we can't feel it, if you know, when a preacher, even if a preacher says a sermon, we want to say we felt what he said. But if you can feel it, you're feeling something inside, and it's something innate, and it's something spiritual, right? This is where the Holy Ghost comes from. This is why the shaking and the movement in the church is because why? They're getting moved by spirit. They're not getting moved by religion. They're getting moved by a spirit. And so when they want to condemn and they use this word of witchery, and it's part of their own European language and is in their mindset, and people define things as they want to see it by the terms that they use because that's what they see themselves as. And so they call our systems black magic, but there is no black about our system other than the color of our skin. One of the songs we sing in Yoruba land is a dum dum la dum dum, that our skin is dark, but our minds are not dark. We are children of Oduduwa. And who are we? We're children of that ancestor called Oduduwa that came and put up together the Yoruba. So what ends up happening, we don't want to use that word, witchery or witchcraft, because that's not something that we talk about. Yes, there's such thing as curse. There's such things as negative things, trouble, hurt, harm, danger, things that could occur utilizing what we use as our invocations, our voice, our foforere, that we use that in terms of using ritual items, things that empower, invoke, because the African has only one thing left, and that's his own spirit, because they can't. Pride is an abominable spirit. They've tried to beat it about us. They try to lock us up. They try to hurt us, but they can't take us out because of the spirit.
Ashe.
Spirit dark. That's what Aretha Franklin sung about being a spirit in the dark, but it wasn't a song about darkness. It was about some people can't even, the spirit is like you can't see it, so it's like hidden, but you can definitely feel the spirit of someone. Actually, even if you go into a room or something, you actually feel their vibration and everything. And I'm hoping that we gradually return to what is originally ours, because for us to be no shade or no cap against Christianity, but that is a real thing that has caused a lot of harm in our present society. It has caused self-hate. It has caused things of ourselves to look outside of ourselves for things. It's really been something else. They really knew what they were doing when they imposed Christianity on African people. And up to this day, they still have people, praising, non-European vibration. It's I don't know.
Well, you just said it yourself. You're afraid to even degrade it.
Right.
You don't want to say, you don't want to take it down. You don't want to say, well, I know taking it down, sugarcoat it. Why sugarcoat it? Why sugarcoat it?
Well, yes, I'm not trying to sugarcoat, because I know a lot of our people are under the influence of Christianity.
Under the spell. It's a spell.
Exactly. I mean,
something, and so that's what happened. Tell them what happened when you went to Ghana and you went and dealt with those ministers. Tell them about that. Tell them about how they want to, you know, all of a sudden they found juju because you know what you told them about their Jesus. Tell them about that story.
Wow.
Well, you know, sister, I mean, and thank you, Baba, for that dissertation explaining that witchcraft thing. And Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, that whole box of Abrahamic foolishness. And I call it foolishness because most people have never even read the book they were willing to die for.
That's right.
If you read that book, they will see that much of it has to do with certain people who claim the book to be theirs, genociding other people who were indigenous traditional people.
There you go.
Genocide after genocide. And so if you could pretend you don't see all the genocide, then you can
see it right now. We see it happening right now.
And I know you are my dire enemy. Whether you know it or not is irrelevant. I need to know. And the same thing with Islam. You know, we don't understand because Malcolm brought it to us so beautifully in his articulating transformation as a result of it. But if you really study Malcolm, it wasn't Islam that was transforming him. It was being African, becoming African that was transforming him. And when he got to that door to become more wealthy, they put a bullet in him, a bunch of bullets.
Wow.
That was the one banner they didn't want him to carry. You know? So let's be clear. And if you go and look at the period of enslavement, like the brother said, well, I'm Moorish. Beautiful term, white man term. Nobody in Africa ever called themselves a Moor. Modern day people. But they were involved with the Arabs in the trans-Saharan slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Arab slaving system that the Western European Christian, Portuguese, Spanish, English tapped into. The Arab already had that system in place on the ground for 1,500 years. People say, oh, you sold your own people. That's a bunch of bull. We fought more wars against slavery than anybody would ever want to imagine. We didn't have the military technology, nor did we have the inhumanity to kill just for the sake of killing. You know? And so if you study that whole period of slavery, especially from the 1500s, late 1400s, 1500s, right into almost the 20th century, you got jihad after jihad after jihad after jihad in West Africa. And what are they doing with the indigenous people? Selling them into slavery in the transatlantic slave transaction. So we got history will erase the mystery. You know, the ancestors showed me the history. And I remember one day I was standing in Kumasi with one of my teachers. He didn't get a chance to teach me a lot, but a good teacher don't have to have you in a hand, but for a few minutes, a few hours. You know, his name is Bafo Okotu. Ask anybody over 50 from Ghana who is Bafo Okotu. He was the linguist for 2 Santahenes. He's an ancestor now. And we met in a very debilitating situation where he wanted to take my life. And he found out I wasn't the one that people had told him was trying to do harm. And he became my father. And one day we were standing in his yard. And he says, you're not from here. And I go like, what do you mean? I'm home. He said, no, you need to go to the north. You're from the north. Even the way me and Baba Wayne are happy. And we both have this leaning this way instead of this way. Now, from this way, we at peace. Everything is cool. But when we are this way, we are conscious that we are at war.
That's right.
Everything represents something. And so history will erase the mystery of who our friends are, who our enemies are. History will erase the mystery of what those other religions have done to our land, to our people.
Yes.
The disruption. But we're still there, and we're still here. All right? They did not win. They've never won. They've only been an intrusion and a disruption.
Ah.
You understand? They can't win. They don't have the capacity to contain spirit. And you can only win if you can become spirit.
Wow.
So we know who, how they say in the old way, we know who we be. You know, Laura Neal said it simply: to go there, to be there, rather. She said you got to go there, but to go there, you got to know there. So to be there, you got to go there, but to go there, you got to know there.
Ashe.
You know.
Baba Professor, you mentioned earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, history, we've made it seem so mundane, like it's not important. No, what is history? You teach me how to shoot an AK-47. Give me a computer. Give me a PhD. Give me $1 billion. We got all those things, and it's meaningless unless we restore ancestral integrity.
Ashe.
We got billionaires all over the place. Oprah Winfrey wasn't the first billionaire. Long way from it. Ain't the only one. Just say in America. But we go to Congo, Ghana, Nigeria, and other places. We got some of the richest men in the world, richer than any of these little white boys we play with, the Rockefellers and others over here. But unless they turn back to this, their billions is just paper. And they'll drink their alcohol and have their sex and go live in the European world and pretend to be something they know, even with all their money, they can't be, and then they'll die.
Facts.
And be recycled. Hopefully the ancestors can clean them up, polish them up, and we can get them back in a better form somewhere down the road.
Wow.
If they come back at all.
At this point, we need to really talk about that, specifically that about the reincarnation of us and the importance of establishing our own banking system, our own thing where we can have infinity of infinity banks, so that as we reimburse ourselves and we can talk about our schooling, our teachings, you know, and so it's very important to realize that part of what we're doing here tonight is to also let you guys know that Professor and I will be speaking at Nicholas, Brooklyn on Saturday. So that's what this is about. Really reiterating that on this Saturday from 6 to 9, Nicholas in Brooklyn is where we're going to be. And so if you're interested in coming and hearing us speak about it and talk about it and be about it, it's more about, you know, getting your feet wet and getting your sense of what is about to happen. This is, you know, going to be explosive. I'll be talking a little bit about bliss, talking about my book about happiness, coming together. And what is important is the ideas that are going to be exposed, you know, and the spiritual legacies that are very, very important. So how do we leave a legacy and what are we going to do? And that's very important. So, you know, bringing our elders out, having them to speak is not, it's not as important as you coming there, hearing them and seeing it for yourself, saying that I was there, I was witness. Take your notes, bring your pens and papers. That's what we need you to do. We need you to come with a mission of what you're going to do to turn this around. Because why? The elders are leaving quickly, and the elders are leaving quickly, and they have left message. But who's and who's writing it down, and who's is pointing the rest of these young people? Because they say, what if a generation is lost? Who lost them? We lost them, right? If this generation is lost, they don't know, and why don't they know? Because who hasn't taught them? Who hasn't affirmed and made it assured that they don't know who's Assata Shakur, who is Malcolm X, who is Martin Luther King, who was the one, and what is he talking about? History. And it's our history and our cultures that's going to save us. And so culturally, who are we? We are one of the best of the best of the best. Because remember, through sickness and through slavery and all the degrading things that have happened to us, only the cream of the cream could have survived the amount of degradation and dismissal and all of the things we do. We had the him and shim and shame, and whatever they had to do, eat the slop of the world and survive it. And so only the best of the best. When you look through these veins, baby, there ain't nothing better in this world, because we're the only people in the world that was bred. We was bred, and we were tested. We were tested, and they actually made sure that our DNA is the strongest. Why? Because that's what just happened. They went and put us through this whole type of test. We had more tests than anybody else in the world. And so if we're the best of the best, how should we start seeing ourselves? How do we continue to make sure that we don't have to continue to struggle? How do we begin to show and teach the world? I look at the little Japanese boys now and the Chinese kids, they're dancing like we dance. They want to dance like, but now we don't see our children dancing. We don't see them on the streets dancing. They want to dance like us. They want to talk like us. They want to be like us. Who? African people in the diaspora. They want to be even the Africans. All the Africans are imitating those things that we do here. Why? Because we have a responsibility to be able to return and to build. We have a responsibility of showing what the African spirituality. It wasn't until a bunch of Africans from this hemisphere started going into Africa that they started having interest to want to know, well, what is this spirituality that these fools are coming over here to see? They started to wanted to know, oh, Ifa? Oh, you want to know about the Abosuns? You want to know the Netara? You want to know about the Inkisi, the Meninkisi? You want to know about this the Rabs? We started bringing those things back to life. Metanator, all of those things that were being done, right? Because they don't have access to books. They didn't have access to the amount of knowledge that we had. They had the history and they had the shrines there that they were letting go.
Yes.
And
Right. I want to interject something as part of the co-producer of Spiritual Legacies. And one of the main reasons why we are doing this is because we want the youth to be a part of it. So those who have children 17 and under, there is free access to them. So we invite the children to come so they can sit at the seat of the anointed ones, the ones that know our story more than anyone else, who have lived it, who have been there. Like Baba had said, you have to know there in order to be. How does it go, Baba?
To be there, you must go there. But to go there, you must know there.
Right.
To be there, you must go there. But to go there, you must know there.
Yes. And that's why it's very, very important that the youth come and be a part of something wonderful. I will be doing a sound healing meditation before we get started. Mama Ella will also be a part. She's one of the guests who will be there, who will be speaking about spirituality from the Haiti perspective and the Congo. She will be there as well. And it's going to be an amazing, I know it's going to be amazing, because one of our esteemed guests, Professor James Small, is going to be in the building. And he hasn't been at Nicholas in a while.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we show real love to Professor James Small. We got to show out, we got to show up, and we got to be in the building, and we have to show the Brooklyn love, we got to show the Harlem love, we got to show the love, the tri-state love, everything, because we love you.
All of that love.
Yes.
I want to introduce to them who is my father, but he's also my son, Invoking.
Yes.
Because you have among you, I've watched him. And first I thought, you got to watch him a long time, because he moves so smooth. And he makes it seem so simple. And I thought I was the only one that made it simple. But this man know our tradition. And he's walking among us and we don't know he's there. He'd come out to Malcolm's grave and I watch him. Because when I'm over Malcolm, phew, I'm fire. No, everybody don't. But maybe when I'm over that grave, you might lose your life out there. And there's certain spirits that come there that Malcolm illuminates, and he does it to him. And I goes, wow. Because see, when we pour libation, people will say, well, we're pouring libation. But you know, a king in Africa told me, I said, no, explain to me, what is it with the libation? So, libation is when we call the dead to come and be among the living. That's simple.
Mm.
Well,
there's a process
Professor,
we invite the dead to be among the living.
well,
And when they come among us, they illuminate through someone they've already sent and incarnated among us. And this young brother, you need to hear his teachings on Ifa and Orisha and our indigenous tradition, because he has committed himself to being it. See, you can believe in it, that's one little thing. You can even know it, that's another little thing. But when you become it, that's a whole nother thing.
Well, Professor James Small, we're going to have Baba Ifa Kunle here more often, and you have an open invitation VIP also to
Thank
be
you,
right
sir.
here dropping science inside the Shanu, or what folks call the cartouche, along with co-hostess Cunia and Brother Baraka, who's sitting back, observing and navigating. You know, we're gonna get the message out.
I did have one question, though.
And Baraka.
Are we wrapping up?
We ain't wrapping up. You just woke up.
Okay, no. I'm wide awake. So, to the Babas, you mentioned
John the Baptist, and he gonna be Jesus.
Say that again, Professor James Small.
I said, I will be John the Baptist, he will be Jesus. Because those are just symbols of concepts, ideas, and principle with possibility of implementation of historical events and the activities of the affairs of man. If one was to behave in the manner you say John behaved, you could do that in any civilization, any time in history, in any location in the world. If one was to behave as they say Christ behaved, you can do that in any gender, any location, any place, any time in history, anywhere in the world. But you got to do that. You got to be what you say you are.
Facts.
As again, y'all got an open invitation. Anytime you want to come here and give a weather forecast or drop knowledge or drop some poetry, because I know Baba Ifa Kunle can sing, he can chant, he got all kind of stuff up his sleeve. I can't keep up.
Well, so we want to remind people, and also someone in the chat asked the question of you, Professor Smalls. You had mentioned a book before in a conversation, and I thought you made reference to the Bible. Was that the book you were talking about?
When I was on with you and King Simon? Was that?
No, tonight there was a book. Well, there is another book that you're talking about too. Can you tell us about that book that you're going to introduce on Saturday as well?
Yeah, that was just a work of research done by a beautiful young brother. It's called Islam and the Ancient Mysteries, Volume 1 of Mystery Science. Now, there was, what's the other two brothers wrote a book on this, did this to show. It's called Egyptian Sacred Sign and Ancient Egyptian Science and El Islam. And they were castigated. This is 30 years ago. But they had stumbled up on something. They didn't quite, I think, grasp what they had stumbled upon. But I found it very early when I was in Islam, thanks to Hisham Jabba. And reading the Quran, because I believe you should read a book from cover to cover, then read it again from cover to cover, and read it again from cover to cover. Then you'll begin to understand why you need to read it again from cover to cover. You begin understanding. And I remember running into words in the Quran that's not translated. at the beginning of the chapter. So why do you have a word? You have words not translated in a book that's supposed to be an open book. Somebody's holding a secret from somebody. So for those out there who know what I'm saying, you know what I mean when I say Aleph, Lam, Meme. You know?
Yeah, and for those who are
wisdom, you've locked the African wisdom in a Greco-Roman, Turkish jacket. We call that Arabs today. Turkish, Greco-Roman, Turkish jacket. That's the ethno-Arabic group we see today. And so you have wrapped the African mystery in their misunderstanding of history, and you give it to us as religion and a guide. And I go like, whoa, that's deep. Right? But I don't need no religion and the guide.
Yes.
I am the universe. The universe is me. Now you remember in Kunta Kinte in that movie, they held the baby up and they said to the baby, what? Behold, the only thing greater than yourself, the universe itself. If you look in every African language, they have one word for the divine, and that word means the totality of everything, or the totality of creation. But all of the words mean the same thing. If you look up the word for person, people, place, or thing in all the Bantu language, in whatever language or dialect you're speaking, they have their word for God as the prefix or the suffix for what they say to mean person, people, person, place, or thing. So they're saying that everything is of the divine and the divine is of everything. There's only divine. We're just aspects, presentation of it.
Yes. Someone in the chat wants to know our up and coming events. Just go to nicholasbrooklyn.com to find out when our spiritual legacies are happening. We're doing one for every month by the grace of the Almighty. And we are also having special editions of spiritual legacies as well. And we hope to be able to do some Zoom broadcasts. Once there's a demand for it, we will definitely take that under advisement because we know that Brother Unk's audience is international, and we would love for them to participate in our spiritual legacies and whatever other events that we're having at Nicholas Brooklyn. I want to give
you know what I want to share, Cunia, real quick. Professor and Baba, 70%, according to the analytics, 70% of the audience tuned into this channel are young men. 70%. The 30% are women. So they're definitely hungry for your message because you got a new generation up and coming.
Yes.
The age range is between 25 on up to 55, and it divided up equally. But 70% of the listening audience are men looking to get your message. So you have an open invitation. You know, like some channels is mostly women, mostly young brothers that want to know or get some insight, direction, vision. And that's why you have a VIP invitation. Babalawo Ifakunle, Professor James Small, and Baraka and Cunia. That is the nature of those who tune in to Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. I'm going backstage again.
Ashe. To the Babas, you mentioned earlier about reincarnation. And I'm just going to just put it out there that I believe that if one does not learn the lessons that they had reviewed with the Creator before they incarnated, that they must recycle back into this plane to, I guess, try again. Both of you have shared very, very profound stories of I guess you could call it the process of your awakening. So my question is, number one, would you agree that if all of that I just stated is true, then could life be described as a process of awakening? And also, what if that is the case, would you also characterize the enemy's propaganda, media, and illusions as a way of, in a sense, co-opting our destinies, that could, in a sense, put us in a loop of endless reincarnation? And if so, what can we do about it?
Maybe a loop isn't a bad deal. So you got somebody else's concept to describe something about you. There was an old man. His name is Uncle Lucius. When I was about 21, he taught us metaphysics at the OAAU Center, Malcolm's organization. And he always said, life is forever living and death is forever dying. You know? And at first I didn't understand what Uncle Lucius was saying. And he had another term that he told us about possibilities. But anyway, I'll deal with the life is forever living and forever dying. In the Yoruba tradition, I think it's called awu. The word for going and coming, to go and come. And we have, in the going and coming process, we have 7 times or 8 times to go through death and come back. There is a science, okay? And in the 8th going and coming, you have 7 or 8 or maybe 10 things you must fulfill in each of those comings and goings in terms of what manifests you to be, the quality and attributes that you become. And there's a point at which you got to go back to the ancestors to be fixed, you know, to come back again. But in all of our tradition, nature itself is reincarnation. You're sitting there, Barack. You made up of 400 and something minerals. You ate, what did you have for your last meal?
I had grits and fish.
Okay, you had dirt and water and some salt. Right? The grits is corn that came out of the ground. The dirt translated into what you call corn. And the fish is in the water, those proteins. And so you just water and dirt. All right? And when you die, you go back to water and dirt. You know? Everything in nature that we know recycles constantly.
Yes.
You know? I remember when they first taught me about this maybe 20, 30 years ago, they said you die and you go in the ground, and then the sun, before they put us in these steel boxes and cement boxes and mess up the process, something else we need to talk about, that white man and the science of killing, spirit, when we were buried in the ground and rotted in our wooden boxes, and the sun evaporated the water out of our bodies, and the water went back to the sky and became the rain that you drank when it fell into the brook or the well, and it watered the food that you ate, the water from that dead body. And the rotted matter became the very fertilizer that became the minerals, that became the plant that you ate to become you.
I see.
So what are we? We are everything. Everything is everything. This brother, Wale, sent this yesterday, and to me, I'm the first one I heard doing this years and years ago, but I'd never do it this much, but I love what Wale said. In order to be born, you need 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great parents, 16 second great parents, 32 great parents, 64 fourth great parents, 128 fifth great parents, and it goes on till he gets to 2048 ninth great parents, and it goes on to infinity, back to divinity. The universe is a living organism that never dies. The thing we are calling death is this recycling, reincarnation process is simply a renewal and transformation of yourself. We're just cells in the body of the universe, which is the divine. And when I say the universe, I'm not just talking about a few planets, because the universe has no beginning and no end. You can't even imagine end. You can't even imagine beginning. It is untenable. It is impossible to imagine an ending or beginning. So when I hear the Christians talk about Alpha and Omega, impossible. There's no possibility to imagine a beginning, because any beginning presumed and must presume that something existed before that thing began, because it had to begin out of something. Right?
And here, Professor James Small and Babalao Ifakunle is a flyer. Family,
Yes,
Nicholas Bookstore, 1396 Fulton Street, Brooklyn. This Saturday coming, January 20th, from 6 p.m. till closing. I will take the personal responsibility, Professor James Small and Babalao Ifakunle, to videotape and document this event. Those of you in the audience who want to tap into the WhatsApp group, here is the I Am Magic 2024 link. You got to knock on the door before we let you in. I want to thank you.
And they have to give a cash app too.
James Small, I want you to get your rest, because I know that folks is you on the demand. You got grandkids everywhere, man.
Or something though. Huh? There's a book. It's by it's called Milestone and Social Systems in Yoruba History and Culture by one of my former teachers, I.A. Akinjobin. And he extensively teaches about the reincarnation in the system. So if you can get your hands on that book.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. He will quite inform you.
I'd like to say something before we close.
Oh, there you are, Cunia.
I got my tea going here. There were a couple of questions in the chat, and you mentioned something, Unc Rising Sun, about if people are interested in seeing what we're doing this coming Saturday, they would have to tune in to a link that you're going to provide. And also, Professor Small, please put up your Cash App, because you have, we're talking about flowers and plants right now. We're talking about living, walking ancestors in the here and now. And it's very, very important that, energy is exchanging here, and you have given so much, so Unc Rising, can you put up Professor Small's Cash App?
Yes, send it to me, because I'm making the banner right now.
Oh, okay. $sign.
We're gonna give you some money. Hold on, Professor. Let me just type in with my big fingers here.
Yeah, $sign.
Dr. James Small.
Doctor.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second.
James Small.
Oh, I thought you were spelling doctor. Okay, hold on.
No, just DR.
Oh.
Yeah. $sign.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I was typing in Dr. James Small, and then go ahead. Now, what do I do?
Yeah, so just the $sign.
Oh, $sign. Hold on a second. I got to find that on my keyboard. $sign. Go ahead.
Capital D and R for doctor. And then James, James, Small, Small.
That's two S's then.
No S at the end. Small.
Small.
People pronounce it and they put it on flyers, because it's easier to pronounce the S. But the old man, grandpa and them didn't use the S.
Right.
Now I'm gonna put it on the scroll along the bottom. Let me know if this is correct. Hold on a second. Bear with me, family. Is that right?
Yeah, Dr. James.
Yes.
Small, James.
And do you also have PayPal for those who don't have Cash App?
Yes, it's C.
Okay, hold on. Let me edit that. Cash App. I mean PayPal. Hold on.
Yeah, PayPal. Go ahead.
C Small. The letter C. SMALL. 1926.
1926.
Yeah. At AOL.com.
At AOL.com.
Yes.
Got you.
C small 1926 at AOL.
Tell me if this is good. Let me know.
Yeah. That's good. That's it.
1920. All right, family. Reciprocation is a beautiful energy. Also, hold, Kafuni, I just want to drop this.
Yes.
Babalao Ifakunle, people who want to buy your book, what is the connection, my brother?
Well, the connection is real simple. My book is about happiness. The book is called Bliss. For those who are interested, you can find it on Amazon, BLISS. It was the #1 selling book on Amazon, and it is about connecting to happiness. And so a lot of what I'm going to do in the book is not what I do in public. So people get a different sense of what I'm talking about, because I talk about bliss in terms of a place from dealing with Ifa and Orisha tradition. And I tell the stories of Rumila and how Rumila talks about happiness and the idea of what it is. This idea of happiness and really reaching bliss is something which is externally beyond just the average sense of what happy is. We want to become blissful in terms of getting ourselves together and enjoying the benefits of life. So bliss, of course, is the highest form of happiness. And
yes.
So on Amazon, you can go into Amazon and look up my book by Oluwole Baba Oluwole Ifakunle. And you can also contact me at www.ifakunle.com. I get a lot of people from the
hold on, Baba, because let me make another banner. How they can get in touch with you?
They can get to www.ifakunle.com.
Ifakunle.
.com.
Let me know if this is correct. Ed Banner. Tell me if this is right now.
Yeah, that's it. www.ifakunle.com. And of course, and if they're interested in making donations to continuous studies and things that I put up for people, they also have a YouTube channel, which is called IFA, IFA, Says, SAYS. So
hold on. I'm going to add that too now. Let me, all right. YouTube channel is
IFA.
YouTube. Go ahead. IFA.
Says is one word. IFASAYS. IFA Says.
Okay, got it.
Before we go, we have a couple of questions in the chat. Just a few of them, and if you don't mind, like I said, Unc Rising Sun has a broad international community, and one question was asked: why we say white man? It can be any man. Why we say white man? Anyone who wants to address that, can Professor Small or Brother, how do you say your name again? Baba? Baba what?
Baba Ifakunle.
Baba Ifale.
Ifakunle.
Oh, Ife Kunle. Ifa Kunle.
Yes.
Yes. There was a question, and this is for all the panel. Why we say white man? Why we say white man? It can be any man, correct? And then there's another question on, can the panel speak on all these people worshiping these celebrities? Okay. And will you have your book Bliss there at the event, my brother?
I will, yes.
Okay.
Amy Fakunle. Yeah, I will definitely have it there, Mother. I will definitely have my book there. I will be signing books as well. you know, and I'll be telling the stories of Ifa, the wonderful stories of Ifa that come and talk about the happiness and how to get into, you know, really getting a sense of just beyond sense of joy, getting a sense of absolute bliss. Bliss is a term that is something which, if you translate it in Yoruba, it says called Ayo. And Ayo means happiness. Ayo means joy. And Ayo means bliss. And so in Yoruba, the same word is describing all three things, but it basically is Ayo, happiness. And so however we break it down, however we change it, but in terms of connecting to higher spiritual form, and that's one of the things that I'm really trying to expose, is that spirituality, the highest form of spirituality, this high spiritual happiness is bliss. That's the highest form.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Kofunia.
Wait.
Hold on, Kofunia, 1 second. For all these questions, I am being mindful of the crazy, intense schedule that Professor James Small has, and I want to be mindful of his time because it's bedtime. He need to get his hot bath and massage, and these questions can be answered at the event Saturday. So being mindful of the time, unless Professor Smalls done drank a turbo cup of green tea, he could take it on. But I'm going to be honest. 10:30. Do you know where your children are? And we ready to put the elders to bed, including myself, with a hot bath and magnetize it back.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, you know,
we take 5 more minutes because I know my wife is sitting downstairs.
Did you hear what he said, Kaponia?
And another 3 hours Zoom with City College people.
Yeah.
So the first question
I wanted to deal with that first question about why we say white man,
right?
Any man.
Thank you, Professor Small. Thank you.
You got to deal with the specific time and space you find yourself in. There's a specific. We didn't call him a white man; he called himself that. So we identifying him as he say he should be identified. I have no problem with whatever color he wants to call himself, the Creole man. That'd be cool. But this man that called himself the white man has engaged in a universal genocide of the man we call the black man. Mm-hmm. And a universal genocide of our mother that we call nature. Mm-hmm. A universal genocide of nature. Mm-hmm. And it's a continuum. The whole universe is injured because of this creature. Doesn't matter where he came from. He came out of us, yes, but everything has an opposite. Everything in nature has an opposite. Every rule in nature have an opposite. Every law in nature have an opposite. Every cell in your body has an opposite. Every atom has an opposite. You need to understand the laws of nature. This thing is out of place. And we have allowed it to be out of place because we're not in our place.
Facts.
You see? If we get back in our place, we put it in its place. You see? That's the best way to answer that. It is what it is. But our responsibility is to be who we were designed to be so that we can check everything into being who they're designed to be. Because we're out of sync with what we should be. Everything else have usurped spaces that don't belong to them.
You got that right. Thank you.
Okay.
Hold on, Kofunia. Ask him if he wanted. I know you eating, but ask him, does he want to eat and drink? You know what time it is for him, because we want to make sure you come back. We want to wear you down, brother, on one show.
We're gonna work together. I enjoy being with Baba Ifa Kunle because we said before any of this happened, him and I were discussing how were we going to work together in multiple ways in this coming year. Yeah. We had already gotten there before any of you came there. So this is the spirit saying, here's a platform that we will be using multiple times.
VIP, open platform VIP tickets.
Yes. Can I ask Brother Ifa
Kunle,
is voodoo the oldest spiritual system? That's what somebody's asking in the chat.
You see, the word voodoo, of course, means what? Spirit or God, right? So when we talk about voodoo, we're talking about spirit and God. And the oldest practices among traditional people around the world is that which could be considered to be voodoo, because it all it's the word voodoo is just a word. It's a
word.
You know, and so it's connecting into the Benin, and so this word means spirit. It means religion, spiritual thing, right? It doesn't mean religion. It means spirit. So people have this sense of what we talk about, old or ancient. Traditional practices are always going to link you in, whether it to be shamanic. Shamanism is called shamanism because of where it's at, but it's voodoo.
Spirit. Yeah.
So, the Hindu system, they worship and they practice spirits and their possession. That's voodoo. I mean, all of it's voodoo if you want to, but the word and the term has been changed around and manipulated to create a sense of what dark magic is. And so once we go and we look about Hollywood and how they've glorified this word and utilized and degraded us, I mean, we should have, just we should actually coin the word and we should be charging people for using the word. But
absolutely.
Around the world, all are doing voodoo according to what what it really means, because it's spiritual work, it's spiritual practice. So traditional practice, the traditional practice of the Peruvians, the traditional practice of the Indians, the British, all of it is voodoo. It's all coming back to the spirit, right? So that, so yes, it is the oldest form of spirituality.
Let me interrupt you, Bubba, because that would be almost dangerous if you give that person that way. Okay. Here's why. Because throw the word voodoo out completely. Just throw it away. Okay. What exists? Okay. And since nobody knows a beginning, we don't know what is the oldest of anything. What we call voodoo is the symbol of the oldest. But another language may call it cuckoo. And they're talking about the same thing, and it is the symbol of the oldest. We sometimes, like, I'm not saying this is what the question intent was, looking for something to be the one.
Right.
The only thing that is the one is the acceptance of the totality of the truth, right? And all of the systems, Bubba named a bunch of them, Buddhism, so forth, Hinduism, and so they're all using the same system. We're talking about cosmology and ecology, mastering nature and mastering the cosmos, mastering the human body and this relationship between the nature and the cosmos. That's what everybody's trying to do. The sun, the same sun shines on China, shines on Haiti. Okay? The same sun, that moon that we see in South Carolina, we see in Nigeria. It's not a different moon. And it's doing the same thing. It's not a different sun. We may name it or call it what we may. Is voodoo the oldest word we know to describe it? None of us can know that. But it's describing, if we say it this way, Baba, if you would allow me, it's describing the oldest way of knowing divinity. That's what Baba just said. It means divine, right? It means God, right? So what that voodoo is describing is the oldest way of knowing things. Is voodoo the oldest word used to describe it? We don't know that. But we know what it is describing is the oldest thing there is.
You gave me some ammunition for the next time them Jehovah's Witnesses come banging on my door.
Mess them up. You know what I did, Bubba? They came to my house. I told them, people, stop coming to my house. This man gonna put his foot in my door. I said, okay, come in. I brought them in my library, locked the door, put the key in my pocket, and gave them a 2-hour lesson on voodoo. They were crying. Yes, sir. They never came back to my house ever again. I locked them in the room.
That's what he get for putting his foot in the door.
Broke out my books.
He got voodoo.
So he got voodooed, you know.
Well,
but again, understanding what the word is describing is the oldest thing that is. When we say Oludumare, he's saying the same thing. We're describing that totality of divinity. The Ewe would say, Sogbelisa. The Igbo would say Lisa. But they're all describing the same thing that voodoo is describing. You know? And so, and voodoo is a good word. I agree with Baba. I've thought about this a lot. Maybe we can talk about this later. We need to take it back and own it in such a way that we can sue anybody that desecrates it.
Exactly.
So we need to figure out how do we do that, and let's figure out quick before somebody here else decide to do something.
True. Like
it only appears in 3 languages. It appears in the Ewe language, the Fon language, and the language of Haiti. Okay, and the Haiti, because many of the people in Haiti came from what the people we call the Ewe and the Fon, the Benin, and the Ewe of Togo and Ghana.
Yep.
And so that became a dominant phrase. But that phrase came into being in the islands from the mouth of the women. People say, oh, the white man called. No, it was the mouth of the women. The women started that revolution. The women called those brothers together because the women are one with the power. They give men the authority. The men confuse the authority that the women give to them with power they really don't have. That's why we're in a mess today for leadership. Because our women have gone in another direction and said, we're not giving you authority anymore. But the women don't know they can only have power. They can't exercise authority.
True.
That's deep.
Yeah, that's why Kafuni's up here in the middle of us.
What? What did you say?
He's the power giving us authority.
Yeah, that's right there. The power. So the power within power, according to the Yoruba, is within the Iya means. And I want everybody to hear that out there, whoever's listening, Iya means, which means, is translated as our mothers. It is talking about that power. And so the power within power is given to us by the Iya means. And they're also, in other traditions, they're called the Menalso, but whatever they call them, they are the night mothers. And it was a long story about Orunmila that tells us that he went into the middle of the woods because he wanted to know what the secret of the world was. And the secret of the world was woman. And the woman came down from out of the middle of in the bush when he got naked and told him to come out from behind the trees in his nakedness. And there's the story that tells us exactly what you're saying there to verify that the women have the power and they give us the authority to exercise.
Ashe. Listen, we could be here for another 3 hours, but I respect, the audience and asking their questions, but I also humbly respect all of our panels, including myself. That's right. I'm not leaving myself out.
Good.
So to be a part of this, I'm just so full. I am full, and I am thankful to you, Professor James Small, to our Ifa.
Ifa Kunle.
Do you have a short name?
No.
Baba.
Can I call you Baba? Ifa.
Baba Ifa Kunle.
Baba Ifa Kunle.
Your name into English.
You know what you're doing. You're getting deprogrammed, Cunia. So you have to sing.
I want to be deprogrammed.
Slow down. Listen, you got to sing his name.
Baba, translate your name into English.
Ifa Kunle. Put your rhythm to it.
Baba Ifa Kunle.
There you go. She passed pre-K, brother. Listen to it. Y'all give her a hand.
Yeah. So my name is one whose destiny makes you kneel. When someone's destiny is so big that you kneel before them, right? And so that's when, and so it also means that, kunle, to kunle means to kneel or to enter into the house. So when I came into the house, so my name is Oluwole. The divine spirit has entered into the house. And when he came to the house, his destiny made you kneel.
My goodness. Thank you. Beautiful. I'm hugging my brothers You are my brothers. You are my fathers. I love you all. For real,
Thank
for
you.
real. From my heart to your heart. Big hugs, big love. Thank you for being. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
Ashe,
you.
Ashe,
Thank you.
and much bliss and
Mm.
prosperity to Professor James Small, our beloved Baba, and the other brother, what's his name? Siku?
Baraka.
Right.
And Brother Baraka, and most of all, not excluding the audience, we thank you for being a part of something wonderful, and we look
Thank you.
forward to you coming this coming Saturday.
Pull up.
What happened?
Oh no, he's just backing you up,
No,
Cafonia.
go ahead, sis. Go ahead, sis.
Oh,
Pull up.
I was channeling.
That's your bedtime. That's what it is, Cafonia.
I'll be quiet. I just want to thank the audience and tune in to Rising Sun. He's going to put the link up. So if you want to be a part of the live situation, he will show you how you have to do that. Okay. And on that note,
Oh, she's done.
I've said what I had to say, and I'm leaving it up to my brothers, my fathers, to seal it up.
You know what? That's a good idea, Cafonia. So we're going to throw the ball to Baba Ifakunle to do a chant for us to close out. Please.
Ajija, ajija, ajija na. Ikú tó wá foríjì mi, ajija, ajija na. Àrùn tó wá foríjì mi, ajija, ajija na. Ọ̀fọ̀ tó wá foríjì mi, ajija, ajija na. Bobo, sobo, ajija, ajija na. That ajija, ajija, ajija na is the sound that the bell makes. Ajija, ajija na. When Orunmila blotted out death, when death came for him. Ajija, ajija na. When loss came for Orunmila, he blotted out with his bell. Ajija, ajija na is the sound that the bell makes when it blots out Ofo, Arun, sickness out of our life. Ajija, ajija na. It is the sound of the bell that we use to blot out things out of our way and out of our existence. Ajija, ajija na. Let the sound of the bell bring blessings and multiply blessings unto blessings. May we find joy, happiness, success, prosperity, and the ability to overcome all situations and circumstance. Ìṣègùn tó wà fún mi abẹ́rẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ àjùbà 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 náà abẹ́rẹ́gẹ́dẹ́ adébábùnà ṣòro wújẹ́ ọdúnrún nìkọ́kọ́ ọrùn màlẹ́jẹ́ tani rúgbó tí ò ṣe sẹ́lẹ̀gbó. We give praise to you, our mothers, who we reach you on a mental need. And had it not been for our mothers, we would have not been here today. So it is with that bended knee that we give you praise. And we praise you for your strength and for your ability to use your mirror as a way for us to see ourselves. Because a mirror is for reflection and for correction. So I hope that today that everybody will look deeply into their mirrors and find their way to the best correct selves. Ashe to, Ibaleshu.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I felt that.
Baraka, any closing words, brother?
No, I'm gonna save that for Saturday night.
Okay. Night, y'all.
Ashe.